Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Tried to make that fading away instead of taking it strong to the rim. Tough three from the corner.
LeBlanc with yet another double-double. Sanford fouled. Come on!
And then the Huskies put their foot on the gas and win it 90-76. And that'll do it from here in Chicago.
See, that's what Coleman Hawkins can do at 6'10". He can put a pass on the money. Got to be ready. Ooh! See you, Greasel. Watch Tominaga. He can pull.
And he does.
And hits. That's a big-time play. 5-point swing there.
The run for Nebraska. Tominaga, not there. The follow by Dawson, no. Now Tominaga for three. Got it.
Boy, great action by Nebraska. Getting a couple turnovers, picking up the pace, playing with some intensity.
Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency with Damon Benning. I'm Andrew Rogers. We are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. DB, I'm drinking the official coffee of Coffee and Cream from the Beanery currently right now. Very good.
Every time, I think more with your long stretched angular shape, more like bean pole, but we'll be going with the Beanery.
Do you have like
I see.
like
hey, listen,
Laffy Taffy puller.
Sun's down, guns down. I see you over there.
Guns down.
Laffy Taffy.
You know, like the kid from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, how they like expand him with the Laffy Taffy puller.
Yeah.
Is that how you describe me on Mike TV?
Did you act a lot like Veronica? She was obnoxious.
No, because I'm never really blue. I have some pink in me normally.
A little flush. Good morning, man.
Hey, good morning to you. It's a great day. It's the new day to start our partnership with the Beanery, so we appreciate them joining us, and I will have this cup of coffee on every single show because I get up at 5 in the morning and I can't survive without coffee from the Beanery. So
coffee in the morning.
Happy to have them along for the ride. And Acres Ale, Zipline Brewing, that starts in the month of February too. Acres Ale.
Where Acres has like taken over the market.
In regards to like farming equipment or this beer?
Well, they're named, they're the new championship center down at Lincoln across the street. They've got the broadcast booth. It's just like, I'm team Acres.
Well, and I'm excited to try it. So they hooked us up with some, and after we try it after the show today, it's too early. Exciting. It's 7:00. I don't need a beer just yet. Well, maybe I do. Well,
as former employee of the show, Marcellus Wiley would say, "Speak for yourself."
But I'm excited to try it because they compared it to similar things that I like. This is locally brewed beer. It's crisp, it's clean, it's light, it's refreshing. That's a type of beer for me. Yeah, so I'm excited to try that. And I hope that I can come back tomorrow and give that same glowing review that I'm giving right now.
I just hope you come back sober.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe give me a 12-pack. So
there's
hey, DB, let me tell you about
multiple
Acres Ale.
Did you say something over there, Little Pocket Hercules?
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
They say it's the perfect beer to wind down your workday.
Yeah.
My workday normally starts to wind down at 11 o'clock, so I'm excited to crack open a beer.
Don't. You feed the folks that think this is like a 5-hour job. Don't subscribe to that, because unless you're watching Nebraska, Illinois this morning on replay, which literally was this morning because it was after 12 because I was at a high school game, it's significantly more than
it's a lot more time. I mean, the prep starts the night before, it goes into the morning. When I say it ends at 11, that's a break.
Yeah, people don't
get take
it.
A break.
People don't get it.
Hey, but this beer is brewed with Nebraska corn.
They couldn't do it. But
again, it's local. Go out, get yourself a pack, and I'll let you know how it tastes, and I'm sure it tastes great. So we're happy to have all of these new partners here in the month of February. It's a great month, Black History Month. Today's National Women in Sports Day. We'll talk to Ana Bellinghausen, our own Hurrdat Sports Digital Director, at the end of the show. Let's go backwards.
AB's going to have to get up early.
Yeah, well, that's why I gave her 8:45, because she's got to do the Creighton game tonight, the women's game.
It is going to be a long day. How about she hit me like right away after the the pleasantries of hello.
Hello.
It was Pat Mahomes' top what quarterback?
It's me.
I was like, whoa, can we ease into this over here, superstar? It's just firing off hard questions. I firmly put him in the top 10, though, no problem.
Hey, if you don't have him number one, you're gonna get Travis Kelce.
No,
in your
she
ear.
said of all time.
Oh, Mahomes of all time?
Yeah.
Number one.
No, top 10. You said
Oh.
number one. What's wrong with
I don't
this?
know. Was I listening?
Good chance you weren't. But I know the nonverbals now of when you're checked in and when you're checked out.
Well, I didn't even use one of my nonverbals there.
Yeah. Do you know it was the look away?
Yeah, maybe I did.
Yeah. I'm on it. I see you every day. So
Are you on StreamYard?
No.
People can't see you.
No, I'm glad.
Why? Because you're wearing Wisconsin today on
Yes,
National Signing
because
Day?
my man Ray and Lincoln is inevitably going to say DB has his smock on. So I am boycotting Ray and Lincoln, even though that's my dude.
We'll talk to Andy Kendeigh at 8:30, Brian Christopherson at 8 o'clock. We'll play 2 for you at 7:45. And the big news today is that it is National Signing Day. But what is National Signing Day anymore? Because with the early signing period, it's not as hectic when February 1st rolls around. There are a few names that will pop up that have said they will sign at Nebraska, one being Demetrius Bell.
I think he's signing Thursday, correct?
You're right. Was he the one that his school got canceled today?
Pretty sure it's Thursday now for old DB, the other DB. Do you really want me to sign in? Because I don't really know if I want to.
Yeah, I want
Shane,
the people to see you.
I
We're live
have
on
to?
YouTube, live on Twitter, 590 AM, ESPN Omaha, 1480 AM, ESPN Lincoln.
Well,
We're happy to
I
have
don't
you with
want-
us on
I
the
don't
show
want-
today.
Bill Cross.
Well, as Kent would say,
Take that monkey off our backs.
Whoa. It's February, man. Relax.
Oh, come on.
What? What are we talking about?
Come on.
What? Hey,
Come on.
Shane. I just want you to know.
Touchdown, Nebraska.
It's a good thing I'm not sensitive. It's
Put a
on.
little frosting on the cake.
It's on and cracking. Hey, how about a beer?
Touchdown. Jackpot, baby.
Hey.
Jeremiah Charles is signing today. Let's keep going.
that guy likes to have some beer.
Brent?
Acre Sale.
Did you watch that game he had to do the broadcast for here in Lincoln? He probably had 4.
Sua Lefetu will be signing his way to Nebraska today. Or these are all intended signing to Nebraska today.
Really, did we
then,
ever
Smith
figure out
Flores
if it's digital docs or are we actually faxing? Because it is 2023 and you can do like the little deal and then you click send and it comes over in an e-doc.
I'll tell you
There's no way we're using fax machines.
Hey, I had to fax paperwork to my bank whenever I signed onto my house. I couldn't scan it and email it to them. So it wouldn't shock me
Really?
if they're like, hey, you have to fax it.
Are you serious?
You swear to God.
Well, you don't have to do that.
I bet they can just scan it.
Yeah.
Sign your letter of national intent.
What happens?
National letter of intent.
Yeah.
Mix that up. And then scan it to Matt Rule at Huskers. Go GBR.
Matt Rule's got jokes. He's a funny guy.
Matt, I just want to thank you.
He's a funny guy. Well, hi. Good morning, Trev.
A lot of the great ones don't have a whole lot of hobbies.
Wow. Shots fired. Shots fired.
We simply can't do that at this time.
Do you think so? Before 2017, like I said, National Signing Day was like a big thing.
Yes.
And then when the early signing period rolled around, because it's lost some heat, lost some traction, like should there still be a National Signing Day if there's an early signing period?
I think something has to give. We talked about this, right? The month of December, and in general, something's got to go. Push it back. Just have one. I mean, does it really help?
I think you lose some flair when you don't have it on the one day. Now, it was hell for every media member in town. It's a lot easier for people to follow along throughout the month of December. If you do push it back to the one day, why would you change it from that in 2017 to what it is now, and then go back?
Because I know we had this back and forth over December and National Signing Day. I just think the original intent was to take the pressure off of student athletes, to spread it out. But I don't, like I said, with transfer portal and other coaching changes, I think there's as much or more pressure to make decisions earlier now more than ever.
Well, and you can change your mind.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of changing of the mind whenever you say you sign to play at Nebraska next year, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to go to Oklahoma.
So, wow. Why are you using that
What?
as an example?
Who did that? Did somebody do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just bringing the rouse down.
That's what Bo would say. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a bunch of BS.
Ask my wife.
But so ultimately, yes, it was made to relieve pressure. But at the same time, wouldn't you be still, if you went back to the old way, yes, you have to make up your mind on February 1st, but you have all that time in the meantime to make up your mind.
I suppose if I had it, like if I had to pick right now, I would say push it back. But I mean, what do the kids say? If you know, you know. I don't know. Make it. It technically it is optional, but I think, remember, if you didn't sign in December for like a couple of years, you weren't in the cool kids club. Now I think we're back to, hey man, if you're highly sought after, take your time. I mean, there's only 4 schools that are out here recruiting anyway, according to national media. So if you're not going to one of those, if you're not going to one of those 4 schools, it doesn't matter anyway.
Well, in the Big Ten, there are
Well, there are 3. There's obviously Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Correct. Those are the 3 that matter.
The only 3 that matter in the Big Ten, right? Oh, but who comes in 4th?
It should be Nebraska.
It is in Nebraska that comes in 4th.
Every year it should be Nebraska.
And this year it is. And if this year is any inkling of what is to come with this coaching staff, I wouldn't be shocked if I saw Nebraska at 3 next year. And Penn State
there are a couple of schools that are going to maybe think about knocking on that block, shuffling for the upper echelon, and that is Michigan State, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Michigan State, Minnesota, and Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin's 13th this year.
I get it, coaching transition, and I see how they're recruiting.
Nebraska had a coaching transition.
No, I get it. But so here's
they are oddballs.
This is just one of those chicken nuggets, right? Let you know.
What dipping sauce do I have today?
Hot mustard. That's the only one that I would ever use if I use one. And I'm not a dipping sauce
I can
guy.
dabble.
I'm also not a chicken nuggets guy, but in a pinch, like if Zoe had 2 of her 64 left over,
2 of her 64,
she's going to be a chicken nugget if she's not careful. She's in like the 12th percentile for weight, but like the 96th percentile.
Is that her nickname now? Chicken Nugget?
No, it's Bear or Ryder. She's Bear. Everybody in my family has a nickname, right? La, Breeze, My.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody.
And Zoe Ryder. And it's originally because of Low Rider, but then it was just Zoe Ryder. Now we just call her Ryder. And sometimes it's
What's
Bear.
your nickname in the family?
Ding Dong.
That carried over from high school.
That hasn't changed. No, but listen, so far, and again, I don't know if this is everybody. I just know our experience so far. They are going to take their time. So Wisconsin went through the whole reintroducing themselves, then reoffering over this live period. And they were just here and fortunately, they were really good. So I see them taking their time. You know, I was joking with PJ Fleck's prowess when he came in town. I think being around him for kids can have impact. We've seen Michigan State. I mean, Mel Tucker's quietly recruited well. Now he's going to have to start winning again, but I think their profile is they're not in a hurry. Like they're doing their due diligence. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised if you say, Wisconsin is. I am surprised that they're last, but not
Second
that,
to last. Indiana's last.
not that they're not up there just yet, because I do think it seems like Coach Fickle and this staff are recruiting different. They asked a lot of just different questions. It wasn't like you think. So I think they're going to take their time.
Ohio State came in at 1, Penn State at 2, Michigan at 3, and then it was Nebraska at 4. As you said, Michigan State, which you were just talking about, at 5, Iowa at 6, Illinois at 7, Maryland at 8.
I listen quietly. That's a good year for Iowa, because Maryland was one of those schools the last handful of years we're like, what is? I mean, can he coach? We know they can. We know Loxley can recruit. Can they coach? I think quietly. I mean, putting down the full, just giving you all the haterade, not drinking any. You got to be honest. That's a pretty good spot for Iowa right now, given the season that they were coming off of offensively, and they didn't get their guy as he now resides in Tuscaloosa.
And Bielema is doing an average job, I guess, at 7.
I think that's Illinois. That's a good spot for them, because who's he going to move out? That's a good spot for Illinois. I mean, Champagne's not an easy place to recruit. Yes, I have been there. I actually took a recruiting trip there. It's not an easy place to recruit to. And, they went through a little bit of a transition. And
they are 41st in the ESPN rankings out of the 75 teams.
That's actually pretty good, I think. I mean, now Bielema.
And it's funny because Wisconsin comes in at 48 in these rankings, and as we just talked about,
and these are are these composite or per? These are just ESPNs. Just ESPNs.
ESPN's just top 75 college football teams.
Gotcha.
And it's been updated every single day because there's so much movement
with each fax machine going on.
But it's funny because Wisconsin is 48th on this list. And that comes in behind Northwestern. And then if you look at 24/7 Sports, Rutgers and Purdue are ahead of Wisconsin. And that's, strictly based on points and, if you get 5-star to 4-star to 3-star to overall recruits.
That scoring system is different.
It's completely different. But I think the ESPN rankings have it right when they put Wisconsin in the top 50. As you said, they're kind of flipping entirely. They turned an entire chapter, not a page, a chapter. They just grabbed a bunch of pages and said, hey, it's Luke Fickell time.
Yeah.
Let's start writing again.
And again, like if taking it back to the state school, like if you would have told, can you imagine in November? I'll give you November. How about the first week in December? If you'd have said, hey, listen, Nebraska's going to go from mid-60s in recruiting right now to top 25 and 4th in the Big Ten. Let's be honest. What would you have said?
No.
Not a chance.
No way.
Not a chance.
And they just keep surprising you. Every single day, Nebraska finds a way to surprise you.
The closer I get to this, the less I'm surprised.
There was I was reading an article on ESPN 2 regarding National Signing Day yesterday. And is it Craig Hurrdat? Is that the writer? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Stimulate your mind, Craig.
I think it's Craig Hurrdat. And he was labeling, not just him, it was a bunch of staff writers were labeling who the best new coach was. Mm-hmm. And Hurrdat ended up settling on Dion, and then a couple of other coaches. I think it was Brom at Louisville and gosh, the other guy's slipping my mind. Regardless, before he talked about Dion, he goes, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Matt Rule. And then he went into how Matt Rule did a tremendous job, X, Y, and Z, but then he settled with, ultimately, I just leaned Dion over Matt Rule. And I'm like, those are the two coaches that I think should be in tier 1A when you talk about brand new programs.
Yeah, full non-rose colored glasses, not drinking any of the Kool-Aid. How can you really not? And you take a look at their class and you look at what they did in the portal. And let's Listen, on National Women in Sports Day, you talk about checkers and chess. It was made official yesterday with Dr. Elsa coming from UIL to be his chief of staff, and you're thinking he definitely knows things that we don't know, right? Yeah, I mean, just look at how he's put the staff together. He's covered all his bases. He hired his nutritionist, where they made it official yesterday. I know that they were in talks before that. Like, I think he's ahead of us right now, and we're just gonna have to try to.
I'm just along for the ride. That's what I like. You know what? I'm on a roller coaster, and I don't care if I'm in the first row, the middle row, or the back.
Again,
I'm having fun.
And I think he would tell you. And what he talks.
Tom Brady just retired.
He talks today at 2. Oh, Shane, we didn't even get. What, you rookie? We didn't even get the breaking news sounder.
I don't know if I can play that. That's from the old place.
Oh, fudge. They're still using my material. We're good.
Oh, I know. They're probably still using my material.
Yeah, Tom Brady. Surprise, not surprise.
I don't know. That hit me out of left field.
You're like, oh, Tom Brady.
Well, because I saw an update.
I'm trying to tell you
right
about
across
nutritionists and recruiting, and you're telling me about Tom Brady.
Why are we talking about Tom Brady? Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. Tom Brady always in the news.
It sounds like a huge.
You know who's going to get traded today or sign for a new team?
Aaron Rodgers.
Just to kind of take the spotlight away of Tom.
No, Aaron Rodgers is the type of dude that'll wait till next week when media reports are like Super Bowl roll. Bro,
when will he do it? Early in the week, or will he do it like right before the Super Bowl?
Friday news dumb. Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay. No,
holy cow!
But I mean, checkers chess. That's the end of an era, and it's time. It's like Rafiki when he held up Simba. You know, when Mufasa passed. It is time. It's time for TB12. I mean, truly, you said it's overused with him. I don't think it is. GOAT. He's 244 years old. He's still slinging that thing, second in the NFL in passing yardage this year. Yeah, I said that. I mean, it's crazy.
Tom Brady.
No disrespect to University of Nebraska on National Signing Day. We just hit a curveball.
I know. Sorry.
No,
sorry.
You're not. Sorry, not sorry. Tom Brady's sorry about that, isn't he, Shane? Yeah.
Like a car crash.
He just told you. Did you hear him?
Yes, I heard him. He didn't have his mic on, but I heard him.
Car crash like me and you?
No, I meant like moving from National Signing Day to Tom Brady. It's like, oh, I just got T-boned.
It's all right. They can go to Dingman's.
They can go to Dingman's. Dingman's Collision Center is your one-stop shop for all of your car needs. They have everything you need, and they work on all makes and models from Fords to Teslas. You didn't think I had it in me, DB.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Hey, by the way, I know how you like to swing, man. Can you tell us about your poll?
Oh, yeah. Well, can I finish this read real fast?
It's impromptu.
Yeah, but I was going to tell him that it's family-run local business.
Well,
Go support the local business.
It's totally fine. You can tell.
That's Dingman's Collision Center, dingmans.com. They've been in the business for over 25 years. Go check them out. Our poll question, did you like it today?
It's okay.
Okay. I put a lot of thought into this. You have 60 seconds to make as many buckets as you can. What's your strategy? Are you taking layups at $1,000 a piece, free throws at 10 Gs, threes at 100 Gs, or half-court shots only at 1 million? We'll talk about that next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
You know he won't be able to stay away, right? TB12, he's going to be a coach.
Well, no. He's either going to be part owner or he'll be in the booth.
Ooh, part owner could be a good guess.
Yeah, I mean the NFL news. The NFL.
Are you saying he's taking over for Tony Romo? Are you claiming that right now?
I don't know.
Come on. Who's better friends with Jim Nantz, Tony Romo or Tom Brady?
It's your boy that does the jeans promos on
Brett
Sunday
Favre?
nights. No, he gives the terrible boxing interviews. Who am I thinking of?
The jeans promos.
Yeah, like Levi's. He does the interviews every Sunday night before I listen to Kugler and those guys if they have the Sunday night broadcast. Shane, who's in Tom Brady's,
I don't know.
no pun intended, front pocket?
Elton John. I'm talking about Levi.
Because I'm a rocket man.
No, he wears his war wounds like a crown.
Oh, sorry.
It's not even Levi. It's Levon. He's just a Moran, so he didn't say it right.
Le'Veon?
Don't put that crap on me.
Shane, who's my dude? Remember Floyd? He was in the boxing ring giving the post-game presser or the interview, and what's his bucket snapped on him. He does the Sunday night deals with Jim. What's Jim's last name?
Oh, you mean
Caldwell. Nance.
You guys are killing me.
Oh,
You guys.
Jeffries.
Somebody help your boy.
Harbaugh. I'm just going. I'm just saying every gym I know.
I can't stand you. You know who I'm talking about.
Caleb,
No.
Donnie,
No.
Garrett,
No.
Henry,
I can't.
Who is it, DB?
Jay Terry,
I give up.
Jay Terry, the greatest equipment manager in the continental U.S.
Applewhite,
No, it's definitely not Applewhite. Dude.
Alante,
No, it's not Levante. Nick.
Omar,
No.
Oliver,
Gaffigan.
Travis,
Shane.
Wyatt.
Oh my gosh. It was a huge day in the NFL. Why is nobody helping me? Like,
If you can help us out, 888
no. Somebody,
638
thank you. My mathematician, Jamie. It's Jim Gray.
There you go.
Jiminy Christmas. How'd you not know?
Well, it's not Jiminy Christmas.
If you would
it's
have
Jim
asked me, I
Gray.
could have told you that.
See, I can't stand you guys. I mean, not a one of you. Not a one of you in here.
You didn't get it.
You get every.
act
I
like-
asked you to be my game show partner once. You were so good at that. If I give you the clues, figure it out.
We're not playing pyramid.
You just guessed Jason Whitlock, and all I said was phony and blowing Christian witness, and you said Jason Whitlock. I mean, that's worth $1 million.
Oh, really? Half court shots?
How'd you get Jason Whitlock out of me voice texting, and you couldn't get Jim Gray?
You know what? Sometimes his brain works in weird ways, man. Like the filing cabinets are either full or empty.
God, I can't stand you. It's been
Can't stand you. No, it's George Costanza.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. See, we didn't recover from last segment yesterday.
No, not at the 7:30 mark.
Who DM'd us? They're like, "What was that?"
It was our guy Husker X's and
Oh,
O's.
yeah. You know,
He's like, man, that first segment was
He said it
wild, and then he
should've
was
gone
like,
50
it should have
minutes."
actually went 50 minutes.
Shane hasn't given us our extra time yet for the show. Can you work on that? Oh, let me guess. He's got to do like he does everything else. I've got to ask Sasha. Sasha can make that happen. Hey, Shane, can we get our other hour? I don't know. I got to go ask Sasha. Hey, Shane, what'd you think about Sean Payton being hired by the Broncos? I don't know. I have to go ask Sasha.
In hindsight,
Dude, can you believe D'Amico Ryans is going to coach the Texans? Well, I don't know. What did Sasha say?
No. Can you believe Tom Brady retired? Ooh, Sasha has a lot to say about that.
Oh, I know. Hey, how about how she clapped back yesterday during our promos? We were talking about Tom Brady, and somebody said it was when Annabelle asked us about top 10 quarterbacks, and somebody said something snarky about Brady. Oh, Sauter. She lit him up like a Christmas tree. I didn't even think she was paying
Sauter's
attention.
a Jets fan.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't have much ammunition. He forgot his magazine.
By the way, how unathletic does he look?
Sauter? Oh, I mean, if you watch him hold the bat, you're
That
like,
was wild.
Are you about to LARP or are you in the box?
Dude, so what is the biggest NFL news considering they're 300?
So Sean Payton
the
gets
Sicilian
traded for a
stiletto
first-round pick.
Yeah.
And a second-round pick.
I think, isn't there a conditional third? It's a second and a third.
I thought it was a first and second for
Good
Sean
job,
Payton
guys.
and
Way
a
to do the
third.
research.
No, I got it written down. Joke's
Hey.
on you.
I don't know either.
Sean Payton and the Saints 2024 third rounder for the Broncos first round pick and second round pick.
So I knew there was a 1, 2, 3 in there. I just didn't have the exact.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know what's weird?
We didn't even finish D'Amico Ryans. We didn't
No.
finish Tom Brady. What was the biggest NFL news on National Signing Day?
Well, I was going to say something that was weird in regards to this stuff, but
you used
I will go back. I'll go back just for you.
I don't even know if I should let you even talk anymore. Who says that?
The biggest news, it's got to be Tom.
Tom.
It's got to be Tom.
Is it Jim Gray?
But
I don't know, Tom. What do you think?
Which would you say is the bigger news, Sean Payton or D'Amico Ryans?
I actually think you're going to laugh. I actually think D'Amico Ryans has the better job.
I thought so too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
They're acting like Sean Payton is going to fix Russell Wilson and keep them competitive to win a Super Bowl in his first year there. Not to say that he can't, because Sean Payton is a legend as a coach. Maybe legend may be like too far-fetched.
So can I just say something about that?
Head coach.
Can I just say something about that? Because I'm consistent now. So this just didn't start yesterday. I told you I would not give up a first-round pick for Sean Payton.
No. But do you know other teams that have given up first-round picks and it's paid off?
So he's 9-8 in the postseason. He's 9-8.
And he's won a Super Bowl.
One.
Not a lot of head coaches can say, like, hey, I won a Super Bowl.
That's technicality. But we're like moving heaven and earth for this guy.
Well, so Don Shula was traded to the Dolphins for a first-round pick back in 1970.
Now, let me look up something.
And the Patriots got Bill Belichick for a first-round pick as well, I believe. Like, these are trading first-round picks for a coach seemed out there.
Listen,
until I looked up how many teams actually have had success trading draft picks for coaches.
Was this Doug Farrar? I'm going back to Twitter because people were going back and forth over Sean Payton and his perceived coaching prowess. Who was his comp? You know, I surprised you with the Reggie Jackson, Carlos Beltran.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're going to. Who? Doug Farrar. It was. Oh my gosh. Hey. Google. No.
Going to my best friend.
Yep. Google. GIB. Google it, bro. Bro. That's what I was going to say. Google it. Google Mike McCarthy's record.
Oh, it's not good.
Is that right? Is that right?
I don't know. I just don't like Mike McCarthy because he used to coach for Green Bay.
Okay.
Mike McCarthy, all time?
All time.
155 and 97. It's a win percentage of 614. So 61%.
Sean Payton, 152 and 89. Winning percentage of 63.
Yeah, so I guess if I'm factoring Mike McCarthy into
this whole Twitter thread,
this bad pool,
it's
all based on Green Bay.
Killing Sean Payton. Why? Because that's what the Twitter mob loves to do. Because 6 months ago, 8 months ago, it was called the Sean Payton sweepstakes.
It was.
Now that he's hired, it's
and let's talk about how funny.
I don't know
how funny it was that the Broncos didn't even want Sean Payton.
What option was that?
He was option 2.
No, it had to be lower than 2.
No. So he was option 3 because they wanted D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
He was the top name. That's who everybody wanted. And then they tried to lure Jim Harbaugh away from Michigan.
Hey, I think I'm going to go interview.
And then they negotiated with Sean Payton.
And
then they tried to go back to D'Amico before they ended up settling with Sean Payton.
Because nobody wants to part with picks.
Yeah, that's 100% the reason. But also D'Amico Ryans, what he did in San Francisco was incredible in this first year.
But
incredible.
Don't you like the Texans guy going back home? They're going to be in a decent place with cap room, and he's familiar with the organization. Did you see who had nerve enough to say they're trying to break up the Good Old Boys Network?
I didn't see that, no.
Dave Tepper from Carolina. The guy
I saw the headline. I didn't read it. Yeah.
To go hire, although he did get a good coach in Frank Reich.
Hey, we're playing 2 for you next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
888-638-4876. If you'd like to play along for some Hail Varsity Club gift cards, it's 2 for You time, presented by Dingman's Collision Center. I already gave them a big old ad read, but I'll touch up on them one more time.
Listen, let's work. We got to work on being a little more subtle. You don't have to announce that it's an ad read. You just kind of seamlessly weave it in. And they're like, oh, cool. That was clever. You don't have to say it. You know what I mean?
Hey, let me do my thing, DB. Dingman's has been in the business for over 25 years in Omaha. They're family-run, family-owned local business. They have 4 locations throughout the metro area with that standalone mechanical shop at 120th and Maple. Visit dingmans.com. If you have an issue with your car, that's all I'm saying. Get an estimate. Check them out. Dingman's Collision Center. That's who we support, and that's who sponsors this game. 2 for You.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Go.
Why'd you back in this morning?
Because I was carrying in a case of beer, courtesy of Acres and Zipline, I didn't want to walk around.
So what did the 10 seconds of time that you saved walking, like, how did that help you with the 55 seconds that it helped you waste by backing in? Like, you only had to walk the length of your car.
I was in my warm car backing in, and it doesn't take me 50 seconds to back in. Thank you. I'm a backer.
Oh, man.
I like to back in.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm not. Well,
I like to go into the parking spot from behind.
I don't understand how that really shortened your walk.
This right here. You see this?
No,
right
I
here?
see that it says 13 degrees, but it's kind of a misnomer.
It feels like 2 degrees. If
You
anybody else is
literally
wondering.
saved, let's be honest, 7 steps.
And I spent
7
less
steps.
time
So
outside
the
because
length
of it.
of your back door, of your 4-door to the trunk, you saved 7 steps.
And that's 7 steps warmer.
Like, okay.
7 steps spent in the heat.
What did I say that to?
To Shane, probably.
I mean,
like you looked at him, you're like, "Come on, man!
Come on, man!
I know you."
Like when I like that delivery right there, like I'm actually floored that whatever it is that I'm talking about happened. I don't know.
You're floored about a lot of things.
No. Exactly. No, I'm not. I'm really not.
We'll play one round. We'll see if we get a caller. We're playing regardless. I say it every day. Not every day. Every Wednesday, I should say. We're playing this game. Yeah. And if you want gift cards, all you have to do is get on the phone, let us know what 2 people you'd like, and we'll play for you. Hey,
have you had any of the specials lately?
At Hale Varsity Club?
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
Well, I usually like to read the chalkboard like 3 or 4 times a week, and I feel like I haven't yet.
How fancy is the handwriting on
I
the
don't know
chalkboard?
who does that, but they should get a raise.
I mean, it's art.
No, I'm
every day.
dead serious.
Every day it's art.
And it's like color coordinated. And I never got the prosciutto and potato pizza.
You talked about it.
I know.
For hours.
I know. But I actually saw like.
I bet Nick would make it for you.
Dude, so I saw like 1.5 abs and I'm motivated. I'm going for 2.
Oh, I need to be motivated.
Listen. Dude, you're built like a stop sign. Who gives a what?
Hey, just because my metabolism's high doesn't mean I'm in good shape.
Hey, so are you that guy? Because I was asking my buddy AC, we were at the Creighton game, and I looked at Coach. He's obviously close with Coach Mack, and so they're like chopping it up. And I'm watching Coach Mack leave from behind. I'm like, what size sport coat is that? That has to be like a.
Yeah, you said a 50.
A 50 long. Like long. Right, because he's all arms, and he's lost a crazy. I don't know, maybe he hasn't. He looks like he's lost a crazy amount of weight, right? And it's like it'd be like my smock, like I'd be swimming in it. Which, if I land the plane, I'm thinking you got to be what, like a 40 long?
I think we settled. That's what we talked about.
Are you?
Monday.
You're a 40, right?
It's either a 40 long or a 42 regular.
Wow. That's funny.
But I have orangutan arms. So like if I switch
well,
straight
you
up,
guys are on this
like
whole never mind.
What were you trying to say? the animal that you find in the jungle.
You guys are on this whole primate thing this morning.
Oh, there you go. Primates. Yeah. No, that was my nickname.
Would you stop?
That was my nickname in high school, DB. Hey, we got a caller on line 1, Zach, because we got to move away from this. Zach, good morning. What's up, brother?
Don't be nervous.
Let me know. I'm not nervous at all.
We're good.
At all.
We're good.
Let's just.
Good morning, Zach.
Can you go like dig up the Donkey Kong rap for me, like the video game rap?
Maui.
DK.
We're not gonna make it.
Hey, Zach. Good morning. What's up, man?
Zach, you don't work for the FCC, do you? Are we good?
Yeah, Zach, you don't work for the FCC, right?
Can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh, okay, good man, good man. That's exactly what they would want you to say if you worked for the FCC. Zach, pick 2 people, man.
Let's go with DB and Andrew.
That's a smart choice. That's a smart choice.
All right, let's
At least
roll.
I think it's a smart choice.
Shane went and got his notepad earlier, though, so he's ready.
All right, DB, you
Yeah,
ready?
but
Hey, Shane, you got music?
Yeah, but I've been drinking, so I mean,
Doesn't shock me.
What'd you have? The acre? Which ones you have?
Yeah,
Shane?
which one?
I've been drinking Red Bull, so I'm a little wired over here, so he probably wouldn't want.
He
me.
probably had the back one over there that says it's a little malty. He probably thought it was closer to ice cream.
Children. ADB.
All right, we're ready. Let's go. Let's win.
Hey,
you got to get Zach $40.
A breakfast food not named eggs.
Easy.
A piece of furniture.
Okay.
A Netflix series.
Come on, man.
Netflix series.
All right. I don't even know. What the world is wrong with you? Okay, I got one. This is a hard one.
In a coffee shop.
Okay. I don't like you right now. But
You ready?
It's fine. Let's roll.
We're gonna try to win Zach some money here.
Some money.
All right. A breakfast food not named eggs. 3, 2, 1. Bacon.
All right.
Thank
Right.
you.
One
Thank
for
you.
one. We're
Thank
still
you.
friends.
All right. Question number 2.
Okay.
A piece of furniture. 3, 2, 1. Table. God,
that's tough.
We were on the same wavelength.
I figured you guys would have said couch.
Nobody
Since
asked
somebody
you.
just put legs.
Nobody asked you.
I'll tell you
Shane.
what. A couch, I don't think is considered a piece of furniture. I think that is furniture. Like a piece would be like a table, a chair, something like that. Am I right when I say that?
I don't know.
Or is it all relative?
I'm mad because I wanted to say table.
Well, I didn't want to say chair, so it is your fault.
Wow.
Question number 3 here. A Netflix series.
Why would you do this?
3, 2, 1. Stranger Things.
Oh my God.
Yes!
Are you serious?
Swear to God, I wrote it down. That's my show.
Wow.
I hate you. Stranger Things. Let's go. Yeah, we rock. That's DB in his head.
I have multiple personalities.
Zach, you got 2 out of 4. You have a $10 gift card. You want to play double or nothing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we got the last one.
All right,
here.
let's
the last
I want
one.
him to eat well or drink well, whatever.
A coffee shop, DB.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Beanery. Let's go! 3 out of 4. Zach's taking home a $20 gift card, courtesy of Hale Varsity Club.
Dude, he can get the special twice.
Zach, how about that?
Let's
Goes
go,
right.
Z.
How about that? That's awesome.
I'm
Let's go, guys.
I'm happy. I can't
Hey.
believe you nailed Stranger Things.
Out of nowhere.
That's my jam, though.
I love Stranger Things.
So I traveled. I was by myself when I took my buddy John drove, but I was by myself.
Hey, real fast, hang tight. Zach, thanks for playing. Your gift card will be at the hostess stand. $20 gift card for you because this is 2 for you.
No, he's already talking to him. He can't hear you anymore.
No, he's not. Shane's not talking to him. Zach's still on the line. Guaranteed. If I said, hey, Zach, what's up?
Thanks, Z. Appreciate you, man. So we were in Dallas, and it was just me. It was me, Breeze, John, and his kiddos. I watched safely probably 9 episodes of Stranger Things while I was at the hotel.
Good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And those episodes aren't short.
Yeah, like
you spent
literally he played 4 games.
8 hours.
Now they played like trash, so I had some free time because they weren't advancing to the winners bracket. But
the losers play at 8:00, so I have 9,
and
that
includes spending like 6 hours in Papados, which is a restaurant. Yeah. And I ate slow. Take my time.
You are literally like a child distracted.
I had lunch at El Pollo Loco, which I would recommend. Yeah, Papados. Anyway, I can't believe you guessed that.
Stranger Things. That's the show.
I mean, that is a brutal question.
Well, there's a lot of series, but how many?
Too many.
How many are as popular as Stranger Things?
Do you know what I'm watching right now? And
on Netflix?
It's no reflection of my character.
Is it on Netflix, on TV?
It's on Netflix.
You are watching...
You're not going to guess. Although, if you know my personality.
Blacklist.
Close. I Am a Killer. I like that stuff, getting in the minds. It's called I Am a Killer. It is extremely...
You are a criminal mind.
The best series on television ever, by the way. Thank you.
Man, we only got 1 round in on that one.
I'm Agent Hotchner. We only had 1 call.
That's all right. We could have played with Shane. Everybody loves Shane.
Oh, come on, Shane.
Nah, I've been drinking over here. I'm good.
Hey, what's changing gears? We're talking to Brian Christopherson next. We'll talk a little National Signing Day and Nebraska basketball with him. Stay tuned.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
Hey, welcome back. Top of the hour here on Coffee and Cream in the Morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. He's Damon Benning. I'm Andrew Rogers. Happy to have you with us. 590 ESPN Omaha, 1480 ESPN Lincoln, live on Twitter, live on YouTube, and live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club. Hopefully you're enjoying a cup of coffee like we are right now, courtesy of the Beanery, the official coffee of Coffee and Cream, and our official Wednesday guest of Coffee and Cream, Brian Christopherson, on with us now. Brian, good morning, man.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
B Sizzle, how are you?
We're having some fun. That's it. That's basically it.
Working hard or hardly working? Like, it's kind of spread out for you now. Is it the old, the original OG signing day, or is there still the, man, you know what? Who's left out there?
It is a little bit more of an OG signing day, I'll admit, but I always keep in mind that for the ones who remain and who are signing today, I always like to, I don't want to just wax on about it, but I do think about how guys have been working for this, some of them since they're like 6 years old, playing sports and dreaming about, getting to the next level, and they've earned it. So on days like this, I always like to celebrate the guys who are signing, even if it's a smaller number. But there is not near as much drama, that's for sure.
Let's put it into perspective. I was messing around with Drew down, and I said, if you would have told me I'll even give you the first week in December, Nebraska would go from high 60s, 70s for some to top 25 and top 4 in the Big Ten. Let's be honest, BC. How much Kool-Aid would you have accused me of drinking?
Yeah, that I would have thought you were a little nuts, but here they are. And what's been fascinating about the last couple months, and I might be repeating myself, but it's one, they're not as scared to go after whatever their evaluations tell them. They're not worried about what 24/7 Sports or anybody else says about a particular prospect or what their rating is or who they've been offered by. Eric Fields from this early signing day is a good example. There's guys in this class, Ismail Smith-Flores and Jeremiah Charlesley signed already. Obviously, Bob Wager knew them from Arlington Martin and had a good read on them, but they weren't highly recruited prospects, but they believe in them. So there's that type of prospect. And yet over here, you look over in the other corner of the room and you'll find guys they're going after where they're going to be going head to head with some of the biggest dogs in college football. They will be. Especially in this next cycle, I think people should ramp up for some of those battles because I think they're going to be there, especially with some of those guys in Texas who they have good ends with. So that's what's been fun about the last 2 months to me is you can, on a Tuesday morning, they might go after this sort of prospect no one's ever heard of, but they know about. And then on Wednesday, it's somebody who's like a 4-star guy and that you got to put out your boxing gloves against Alabama or something. That's what I've enjoyed.
Brian, as I just sat here and listened to what you had to say, it kind of got me thinking about where Nebraska is currently in the recruiting rankings. And because they land at 4th, it just keeps growing the expectation level of Matt Rule. But what if Matt Rule doesn't win right away? He's setting our expectations so high. And like when we think it's peaked, it gets higher. And then when we think he's peaked again, it gets higher. If it doesn't turn out to be a winning team right out of the gates, what do you think the reaction's going to be from the fans? Is it going to be I saw it all along? Like right away, I'm saying in year one, like, oh man, here we go again. Is it going to be that reaction or are they going to be patient?
I think Husker fans have learned to be somewhat patient, especially I do think it's some people would laugh at this. I think it's a mostly rational fan base that's more level-headed than is given credit for, actually.
I agree.
And I believe people are able to reset in their minds that, man, I want this right now, but I also know this is a new build for these guys. I can't put what happened in 2019 or 2020 or whatever year you want to put out there them. They're new here. They're taking over a program that hasn't been to a bowl game since 2016. I think I went on a mini rant last week or two on the show about how it's really not that difficult as it's been made to make a bowl game. So I do think there's some expectations around here that, hey, guys, let's get to 6 wins. Let's do that, So I think there's going to be that hope that somebody's got the right answers to solve that riddle at least. But I think beyond that, people are going to expect that it's going to take a little time to develop. And I think also on this signing day, as we talk about guys who are, going to join this program, there is a good number of guys who are still pretty raw prospects. It's going to come down to that develop word we always talk about. And that doesn't happen in 1 year necessarily. Some of those guys that we might be excited about what their tape or some of their resume from high school shows, they might take 2 or 3 years to build up to be the kind of guys where you're going head to head with a Michigan on a Saturday, that sort of thing. So I think people realize that, but no doubt, I feel like they've moved the needle since Matt Rule was hired, at least in kind of some people who are like, yeah, I don't know if I can go through this again. I think there's that hope that hope is starting to rise in folks again.
BC, level of surprise that you see the power names, but maybe the on-field production has been different to see teams, and especially in your composites, because I think they're both top 8, to see teams like Miami and Oklahoma. Does that give you hope? Does Miami give you hope for Nebraska?
Well, I mean, it's different for everybody in their recruiting grounds and what's available to them, maybe. But I get that point because it shows you that you can still be put together a really good class, even though you've stumbled around on the field, if you've got the right recruiters and the right vision for your program. And I know there's still skepticism about what's going to happen at Miami there, and if they can build that up the right way. But yeah, that's a good recruiting staff. So I'm not shocked that they're up there. But that's a good point. I think there's programs that have fallen on hard times, but that logo still resonates when a coach walks in a hallway with it. And Miami would be one of those. I mean, it just is. I mean, their name still floats out there, with the U 30 for 30 gets replayed, and kids know about that, and they think about, their glory days. And I don't know. I think a lot of kids who look at Nebraska, even if they don't know about what Nebraska was, they get up here on a visit and they see it, or their parents or their coaches know all about it, and they're like, man, you should take a closer look at that offer. So I do think schools like that always sort of get that advantage where their history comes into play at some point.
BC, as we look at the expected to sign today, there are those names that Nebraska is supposed to see sign their way. Lefatu being one, Jeremiah being another. Demetrius is going to have to do it tomorrow because school was canceled for him. But I was reading your article, and you throw around a name that I've been seeing a lot now, and that's DeAndre Barnes. And he's been popping up on multiple lists because he recently visited Nebraska last weekend. Another dual sport athlete, a guy Matt Rule likes to, at least physically, a guy that he likes to attack. How much does the recent visit play into all of that stuff? And do you believe Nebraska is the top option for him?
I kind of think he's going to end up at Nebraska. I'll be upfront about it. I haven't been able to reach him since his visit.
That seems to be the consensus.
Yeah, I think he's maybe done one interview, a brief one with somebody, but it's one. So that's the candid answer is, sometimes like, where's that guy going? It's like, I think Nebraska is where I would guess, because I feel like it's his best offer on the table. Also, I mean, you just piece things together. It's the timing of it. He visited the weekend before signing day. He gets an offer before he leaves town. He did receive an offer in mid-January from BYU, which is, you would consider now a Power 5 offer, and obviously a solid program. After that, you're talking more about like Air Force, Wyoming type offers, and I'm not knocking those at all. But just if he's going to want to play Power 5, it seems like would be Nebraska or BYU. Really interesting prospect, can play both sides of the ball. I love his receiver tape when you watch it. I mean, he's very fluid, and he's got all those things Matt Rule's staff loves. He ran a 10.69 100 and 21.6 in the 200, and so I mean he can fly on the track, and I think they might see him as a defensive back, but he's one of those guys you can play around with a little bit, and that's what'll be fun also with a bunch of these prospects. You could probably go through the list and find a handful of those guys which side they're going to be on, and they're going to have to get them on the field and discover that. But I think there's a good chance he ends up at Nebraska. It's not one of those, though. Don't mean this as a diss, but at this point, it's not like a make or break signing. Either they're going to add 38 players when you count in this cycle, if you count up the JUCO and high school guys in the portal, or they're going to add 39. And that's pretty incredible right there. So whether there's 38 or 39.
Hey, BC, let me ask you something, because you mentioned Eric Fields, and I'm captivated, right? I watch his tape, and I'm not kidding. I said this about when the show started. He may be my favorite prospect just because of the reckless abandon he plays with and his closing speed. And I was like, how is nobody recruiting him? Is there a guy, and I say all that to not lead you into an answer, but is there a guy that has you like, man, can't wait to see, I see this vision, that isn't getting a ton of run, at least early on?
He got a decent amount of run back in the day, but this is how recruiting works. Jaden Doss is who I'm going to talk about. Jaden Doss is not, like, I would say, an under the radar recruit necessarily. Like, when he committed, it was people are pretty ecstatic around here, but it was so long ago, and he just stayed loyal, that I think people are like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, you kind of get distracted by who's next, and the new staff came in. There was plenty to talk about, and you forget about guys that signed in the spring or summer prior to that. Doss is just really interesting to me because he wasn't handpicked by this staff, but Matt Rule has also said, if you're here and you're in Nebraska, you're my guy. And I like that. I like that they say that. He's not trying to play like, well, these are the guys that we picked and these are the other ones. And he's a guy who did everything in high school. So I'm pretty interested in him. And he kind of is in that, gets you closer to that Kansas City area where you'd like to see some stuff. Another guy I'd point out is Vincent Carroll Jackson.
Well, he's active on social media. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's really fun to talk to. You guys, I don't know if you've had him on your show, but you should get him on the show because he's a really smart kid. He was telling me, when we were doing the interview, I was like, what's you got a hobby no one knows about? He's like, I just read all the time. He's like, I got all these books stacked up next to me. But he only played 1 year of football and was pretty dominant. I mean, like, for a guy who just stepped right into it, and they have a few of those guys who only played a year. What will be interesting going forward is if those type of players, I hope this staff is able to still recruit those type of guys. Matt Rule made mention of it on early signing day. Because they got here so late, the coaching staff, they had to look at more senior film on guys than some other programs are going to do because their classes are all full by December, So Nebraska, because theirs wasn't, they're looking around at guys, what did he do this last fall? And it was kind of old school recruiting, and guys like, Vincent Carroll Jackson, who's from an area they know well in Pennsylvania, but they might not have missed him at all. But the fact that he just started playing football and this staff was able to locate him that fast, had a Syracuse commitment briefly, but then picked Nebraska pretty easily after he visited here. If you watch what he can do, is a guy I'd be really excited to see what he looks like in 2 or 3 years. I don't know that you'll see him pop out there this season or anything, but he's a guy that when you talk development really jumps to the surface.
It's exciting.
Brian Christopherson, senior writer for Husker247.com, is who we're talking to. Toss him a follow on Twitter at Husker247BC. Brian, when it comes to recruiting, everybody is in the know at Nebraska. Even Ed Foley, who's literally going around shaking hands and kissing babies over the last month. On Friday last week, we had a conversation on the show. Having a plan whenever you talk to recruits versus not having a plan, but being honest about it. Are you on the side of, if you put yourself in a recruit's shoes, are you on the side of, or maybe you don't, maybe take yourself out of it. Are you on the side of you'd want to be in the know, to believe the coach is taking you seriously as a player and not just talking to you just because he like wants to make an impression just to talk to you? Or are you okay with the honesty if the coach doesn't specialize in the position?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think my short answer would be honesty is what I would I would want them to be as candid as anything they could possibly be about. And even why they're, like if you're not, let's say you're a coach that gets sent somewhere and that's actually not your position guy, you're just in the area and all that. I do think there's probably use in like laying out, this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is the area I cover. This is who you're going to be hearing from also. And just, if you can be really transparent, I think from day one, that always seems to jump out to recruits. That's the thing I hear more than anything in interviews is, he was just real. Like that's the best compliment a coach can get, is he was just real with me. I found that after a short amount of time, we were talking about stuff that had nothing to do with football, and you put down some barriers quickly. And it's those guys who succeed or excel in a fast manner at having prospects, put down their barriers and just feel like, hey, I can have an open conversation with this guy about things that are pros and cons and all that stuff. That's who I want to be. I'm pausing because I think there might be news. It sounds like they might have got DeAndre Barnes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep, they did. It looks like.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Well, that's big. I guess my follow-up to that.
Shane, where was the breaking news sounder? He's talking real time. How were you not on BC?
I gotta tell you, man, I didn't even have a breaking news sounder. I just went right into it too. BC and I are on the same page. Hey, a quick follow-up to that, because you made a lot of good points. I'm actually on the latter side, as DB knows. Mm-hmm. As a recruit, I'm like, if you're not going to take me seriously, don't just talk to me. But I think it's because Matt Rule has set an unrealistic expectation for many people to meet, because his coaching staff always has had a plan from the get-go, especially in a new system. I mean, is it unfair for me to bottle in other teams that may come with that approach because I'm so used to knowing what Matt Rule does?
No, it's not. And I mean, just in general, a lot of people are pretty skeptical about the whole recruiting deal. I mean, they just are. Like, we could go through every layer of that. They're skeptical about if coaches are just, being some coaches out there, I think, just being a car salesman or whatever, and not car salesman, but, like being that someone who's just trying to get, what can I do to get you in this car? And some of the honest points are sometimes left by the side of the road. So I think there's skepticism naturally about that, but you do run into a lot of guys, and the best recruiters, it doesn't matter what school they're representing, they're just genuine. They're just genuine guys. It almost always works that way. Once in a while, there'll be an exception to that, but I found that in covering this, the guys that you would just want to sit down and have a conversation with, have a drink with, and just talk about anything, those are the guys who are the best recruiters too, because that's what it's about. It's about that relationship of, yes, this is what we can offer you and this program can offer you, but also at some point the player's looking at that guy like, I just like that person. Like, I want to learn from him. That's a good mentor. That's somebody I would spend 4 or 5 years around if that's how it works out. So I always understand why people look at recruiting and they kind of do an eye roll and stuff, because there are a lot of parts to it that are like that. But then there are actually people who do it the right way, and they have a good message, and it's an honest message, and those guys usually succeed, and that's what you hope for, and that's what you hope they have in the staff at Nebraska, because it'll be a lot of fun if they are that group.
That's kind of weird listening to you two this last 10 minutes, because these three schools that I'm going to ask you about have something in common, and I think it's a clear-cut message as I'm watching this recruiting process unfold. Michigan State, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Now, it's yielded different results for Wisconsin because they got off to a late start, but the delivery is the same. When you look at the rankings, who's most likely the reflection of where they are in 2023? Michigan State at 5, Minnesota right there at 6, or Wisconsin second to last.
I think reflection of where they'll be. It's not. That's a tough question, Damon. Because Wisconsin's not going to.
You wouldn't think, but Michigan State appears to be trending in the. I mean, he's consistent now, right? It's about where Tucker's been. They really are. They really are.
Yeah, he's a good recruiter. I've been a little slow to warm on Michigan State. I know they had. Here's why. Not because of their recruiting. A couple of years ago when they had that 11-win season, I really thought it was one of the biggest smoke and mirror seasons I've ever seen. I really did. I thought, man, that's like a 7-win team. And I gave them credit because that's the team Nebraska punted it to the wrong side of the field on and all that stuff. I just thought that's not a double-digit win team. Are they really that? There's going to be this expectation that that's what they're always going to be. And then they kind of fell back to earth and who I thought they were this last year. So now it's kind of like, okay, who are you actually? You've had one of each side, a good one and a bad season. But the one thing he is going to do, Michigan State is going to be a presence recruiting as long as Mel Tucker's there. I mean, he's just good at it. He's going to hire coaches that are good at it. And so they are always going to be, I think, top 5 in the Big Ten in recruiting as long as he's there. I think they will be 5 or 6. And Wisconsin, though, that's weird. I don't know what to make of that. They're going to. They're going to do it their way. They're going to go for guys who don't necessarily wow everybody and have all the stars. But I think you'll see an uptick from them as far as even the rankings and stuff like that.
You hit the nail on the head, BC. Thanks so much for your time this morning. We appreciate. Enjoy the day, and I'm sure you have a busy day ahead as well.
No, it's good. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me as always.
Thanks, B.
That's Brian Christopherson. You can toss him a follow on Twitter once again. That's at I lost my spot here. Husker 24/7 BC. I almost wanted to say BC first.
He hit the nail on the head with them taking their time.
He also hit the nail on the head by saying, "Hey, Mel Tucker, that team's going to be good for a while. The way he recruits.
I mean, he's recruited, but didn't last year's results surprise you?
Yes, it did.
They had the best pitch and catch combo coming back.
Sure did. But he's a great recruiter, and there's no doubt there.
They're thorough.
Andy Kendeigh up next, sports director at KETV.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Moments away from talking to Andy Kendeigh, sports director at KETV. We will get to that here soon. It's Coffee and Cream in the Morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, and DB. I just scrolled across Twitter and I saw something that struck my eye. With Tom Brady retiring, and this is if he doesn't come out of retirement again. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Big Ben, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, the end of an era for quarterbacks.
And you've got probably 1 or 2 more years for another one, and that'll be Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. And then what do you have?
You got a great new era of young quarterbacks.
Where does Russell Wilson fit in that mix?
He's outro.
Like, is he in the middle of that era and the new era?
Tail end.
The tail end of the
could you see
Tom Brady era?
Could you see Russell Wilson, Andrew Esteban Rogers? Could you see Russell Wilson having 3 productive years with Sean Payton?
Do we know how long Sean's contract is?
Well, it's going to be 3 years.
So you think 3 straight years with Sean?
Well, he can't take much time off. Russell Wilson's not young. So
Russell went for 5 years there?
Yeah. Could he get
I could see.
Does Russell Wilson have 3 more good years with Sean Payton?
3 is high. I would say 2. I think he could have 2 good years with Sean Payton.
Okay. So that era will come to an end about the same time as Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Because Aaron Rodgers is 37, right?
He's old. I know that.
Am I
Older.
He's
Sorry,
old.
DB.
Wow.
Older.
Oh, wow. That's what we're on this morning again. He's 83. He's
83.
1983. And Russell Wilson is Mr. Wilson. Were you a Dennis the Menace guy? You probably wore a menace, so you're like, nah, that's me. Nobody asked you, Shane. I don't even know how old Russ is.
Russell Wilson is 33.
He's 34.
Darn.
So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's playing better football than Russ.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron Rodgers is 3 years older than Russ, too.
Andy Kendeigh on the line now. Andy.
That's the Wisconsin guy. He knows.
Andy Kendeigh. Good morning. What's up, man?
Morning, boys.
Hey, a shocker this morning was seeing Tom Brady retire. And we just were, I don't know if you heard any of that conversation, but we were talking about how with Tom retiring, it's the end of an era. But then DB brought up a good point on, well, when Aaron Rodgers retires, then the era officially concludes. But then we were like, what about Russell Wilson? And where does he fall in that mix? What do you think?
Well, I think Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers probably go hand in hand. I don't know if Russell Wilson is in that same realm, but Super Bowl wise, I guess so, with him and Aaron Rodgers. But there's no comparison to Tom Brady. I mean, he's the best quarterback of all time. And if you would have told me back in 1998 or whatever that when I was covering a Michigan college football game and he couldn't even beat out Drew Henson, that he would be the greatest quarterback in NFL history, I would have been stunned. So what a great career, what a great. It's been a pleasure watching him, and I will say this: as a guy who covered Brett Favre through him and Hahn, I'll believe Tom Brady's retired next August.
AK, let me stay right there just for a second before we get on the local level. There was a time. I almost feel like
back in my prime.
I almost feel like I'm going to play you another song, AK. But since you work with me a ton, you're not going to be distracted by my randomness. You covered the Packers. You've been in that market. I thought there was a time where Aaron Rodgers superseded Brett Favre in terms of Q rating. The last 3 years, I'm like, oh, shoot. They may be the same person with Packer Nation. In your opinion, who does Green Bay Packer fan gravitate towards more? Towards more. How about that? More.
Oh, we lost Andy. We lost Andy.
Did we lose Andy? Good job, Shane. See, AB AB walks in and the whole place goes bananas.
Do you think he accidentally put the phone too close to his cheek and he hit the end button? The end button on the call?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, great question though, because you were going, and I didn't hear him any of the hum or the buzz in the background, and I'm like, why didn't he say anything before you said
there's a hum and a buzz
towards
humming. AK, are you back? All right, AK, you there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I have no idea what
that's
happened.
Shane. It's just Shane being Shane.
It is a Shane thing.
Don't blame Shane. Hey, once upon a time, I thought Rodgers surpassed Favre with his Q rating in Green Bay. The last 3 years, no pun intended, he's maybe come back to the pack. Who do Packer fans gravitate towards more, Rodgers or Favre?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm not sure at this point.
Isn't that weird?
Because I would say if it was 3-4 years ago, I think Rodgers would have surpassed Favre. And then with everything that has come out with Brett the last couple of years, I don't know if that paints his legacy in Green Bay.
Well, Rodgers hasn't helped himself out either.
Well, that's where I was going. I was going to say the last couple of years, I think Aaron has really not done himself a service by acting the way he has. And, but in terms of performance on the field, I would think that they would be equals, if not Rogers, maybe a slight tick above Favre. But I think Favre was more of in his playing heyday. Favre was a little more beloved, in my opinion.
Andy, after watching last night's Husker basketball defeat, it kind of felt like a tease on the hardwood because they were competitive for 30 minutes of that basketball game. If they would have taken better care of the basketball, do they beat Illinois and Champaign there?
I'm not sure. At some point, talent catches up, and man, as hard as plucky as they played last night,
plucky.
There's no substitute for the plucky. You like that?
Yeah.
Plucky. I mean, seriously, that's what we're hanging our hats on now, boys. I mean, it's nice that they hung in there, and it's nice, and I know that there are deficiencies roster-wise in terms of injuries and whatever. Bottom line is that, man, this is. I will give Fred kudos to, changing his path of philosophy in terms of approaching games and whatnot. But man, at this point, they're still 10-13 going forward in year 4. I mean, his Big Ten record is what, 9 and.
AK, he's winning. This is staggering, but he's winning games at Nebraska at a 30% clip.
Yeah. He's 34-80 overall. I mean, that's tough. You can give him all the credit for changing his ways going in, but the bottom line are results. And now I'm not suggesting that they're going to get rid of him, but at some point you got to get some results. It comes down to winning, and there just hasn't been a whole lot of it for Fred.
Let me change gears to the local school here over there on 20th and Dodge, right down the street from you, AK. How in the world do you think Creighton has turned it around in such a hurry, in such a dominant fashion? It's not like they eased into being good again. It's like they hit the X button. Is it as simple as Ryan Kalkbrenner?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, but Kalkbrenner sets the tone, and I think they've done it with defense, right? Even
amazingly, yes.
The days that, I mean, it's been pretty amazing to see Kalkbrenner. It all starts with him by the rim, and it kind of works its way out. Trey Alexander and Ryan Nemhart playing lockdown defense, and watching that Xavier game on Saturday, that was probably the most complete 40 minutes of the season, and there's still room for improvement, which is scary. So you look at their schedule, moving forward: Georgetown, Villanova, at Seton Hall, Connecticut, at Providence, at St. John's, next 6.
Yeah.
That's a good. You win 5 of 6, 6 of 6, not out of the realm. I think they're very much played themselves back into the Big East championship conversation for the regular season. And at one point a few weeks ago, you might have thought, this team may not make the tournament. I think as long as they keep playing the way they play, and they're a lock for the tournament coming forward.
Andy Kendeigh, we appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much. We will talk again in 2 weeks.
See you soon, AK.
All right, thanks, boys.
Okay, bye.
That's your sports director at KETV, at A Kendeigh, KETV on Twitter. Ana Bellinghausen up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, welcome back to the show. It's Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. We are live from the H&H Chevrolet stage at Hail Varsity Club, 590 ESPN Omaha, 1480 ESPN Lincoln, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. And you want to go over to YouTube right now because we have a live guest. Yes, as promised, Ana Bellinghausen in-house. Ana is the digital director for Hurrdat Sports, and let's just give Ana some credit here, real fast. I'm gonna put lighter fluid on Ana's fire already.
I was gonna go first. I was gonna go first.
Her social media game is off the charts for Hurrdat Sports.
So
off the charts.
So
when it comes to TikTok, especially.
She wasn't in the meeting. I think she was on vacation or probably taking one of her few days off. And I said, so they're I felt like we were being chastised, maybe reprimanded, as grown folks can be sometimes, about social media content. And I looked at AR, and we're having this meeting, and I was like, well, fudge. I mean, who in the world is going to be Ana? Like,
how can you compete with Ana?
That's so in my head, that's basically what I said. And then there was some other snarky comment made in the meeting, and I was like, look, timeout. Let's get a full timeout. Like, that's part of her job. She's really good at that. So what are we supposed to do? Right?
Ana, how do you do it?
First of all, you're fearless. Like, you'll say or do anything, and then you embrace all criticism or any criticism. It's like, what?
No, I love it. I think everyone has their own lane, and I appreciate that you guys don't even take offense to the fact that maybe you can't do TikTok as well as I can.
I can't.
But that's okay, DB.
I can't.
You know, you're better. You're better at other things.
He can watch TikTok probably better than you.
I guarantee you. I can.
Sure, I would love to see your For You page. I'm sure
it's the same three things.
He just likes to scroll. It's
the same three things. It's movie clips in which everybody says, "What's the movie title?" Because that's always in the comments. What's the movie title? Hey, follow for part 17. Recipes or people swimming with sea creatures. Because apparently I've watched sharks over and
sharks.
Apparently I've watched sharks over and
DB
over.
wants to do someday. Yeah. I'm going to find you on Shark Week. Like, you will be in the cage.
It's in my library. I record it.
You know what we should do? Gloat versus goat. Shark versus DB in the ocean. We'll have a race.
I got to ask AB, though, because I'm dying to know. Like, you had a comment a couple weeks ago, and it was so your personality. Somebody clapped back about an opinion you had, and you go, this is why I will always cover sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, handled it like a pro.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just evolving in the business. It's like, put them up.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, like, I'm kind of
What was
captivated.
the comment first off,
Yeah.
and then respond?
So I tweeted a couple YouTube comments I get, and like, if you're putting yourself out there on the internet, of course,
You're gonna get some
people
yeah.
are gonna have something to say, and I know I signed up for that, and so I'm not like, I don't take offense to it because they're probably hanging out in their mom's basement, tweeting at me.
Yeah,
whatever.
you tell them, Anna. You tell them.
And that's
There's
fine.
the passive aggressiveness I love.
And that's fine.
I'm all about being
We're here
petty
for
and
petty.
snarky. That's me.
No, but what I tweeted out was these 2 YouTube comments on. I think it was the Brock Purdy take I had.
It was either
about
Purdy
him being
or
Tom Brady.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah, of him being Tom Brady in the making. That's another story, but that was the YouTube short I made, and people commented like, "Stick to volleyball. You shouldn't be covering football. Like, football's for men."
Do you
Stop."
remember when they did that to me though? Whenever I said Trevor Lawrence was a bust, they're like, "Let the girls stick to football."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so people are so funny on social media.
They'll
What do you
just
want?
say whatever.
What do
They'll
you
say
want?
whatever. But as a woman in sports, shout out National Girls and Women's
Yes.
in Sports Day.
Shout
We'll
out,
talk
shout
about
out.
that in a little bit.
Shout
But
out.
Talk about that next.
yeah, you're gonna get those comments over and over again. So I screenshot a couple. I left their usernames in, but they're like burner accounts, so it's not a name or really anything. But cowards, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Burners.
Those burners. You
6
guys don't
by
have any
9
of those, right?
smoking
Hey,
burners.
my favorite thing to say, Anna, is just tweet back at them and say thank you for your service.
Yep. So I tweeted them and I I said
Not
this
me.
is why I'll never stop covering sports, and it's, you know, if people are paying attention to what you have to say, and even if they're giving you hate, it's like you're making an impact. You're making someone listen or watch you. So no matter if it's negative, which of course you're going to be more prone to say something negative on social media if you're just that way in life versus, oh my God, I love this video. You're more likely to get those negative comments here and there. And those stick out to me the most, but I also use them as motivation. It's like, okay, people are listening to me and I have things to say and people should know them, and women belong in sports. And I want to stick up for other women and make sure that, you know, they know that they have a place here.
I had a question. Do people just not want to tell you no? Because you get all these sit downs. I'm saying, like, you've noticed that, right? She's putting on hockey gear. She's with Gab. She sits down with Mac. Like, do people
She talked to the Popeye kid.
I did.
Like that? And I'm like, so full disclosure, there's a part of me, because I think you've worked enough with me now. Like, I have some weaknesses, and one of them is I don't ever really want to put myself out there. Like, it's just not my thing, which in this business you think is kind of contrarian, right? So there's this part of me that gravitates towards the facts that you just ask. Do people not say no?
I've gotten plenty of no's, trust me.
Have you really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just not the ones you see. I feel like I reach out at any opportunity I can get, and I feel like I just do that more than a normal person would, and I'm always asking and asking, not in an annoying way, but finding those stories and just reaching out. Because I mean, I remember during quarantine, I started my own little podcast just in my room, and I was DMing NFL, NBA players, MLB players, and I got like 4 or 5 of them to respond back. Of course, if you would actually look through of the percentage of who replied and who didn't, obviously a lot more non-replies than replies, but it's those few ones that stick out. But for the local ones, and even some of the national ones, it's just building that relationship, and I make sure to tell them happy birthday and Merry Christmas or happy holidays or whatever it may be. I'm always trying to keep up with them in a way I feel like other people might just always be asking them for something. And it's really important to me to build that relationship almost first and make sure I have their trust. And I think it helps being younger as well, and just hungry in the business, and they understand like, hey, this might help her out too. Me doing this interview and just having that mutual respect of, I want to tell your story with integrity and you trusting me, and in return they're helping me out and giving them a platform and giving me a platform. So yeah,
take notes, because that's something that applies to everyday life. Just reaching out to people like that. And you talk about, you know, sending messages to people. It's kind of like applying for a job in this field. You have to apply for 200 odd jobs just to get 3 responses back from people. You just have to. That's the work. It's what's required. And you need tough skin. Hey, shoot your shot, right, Anna? Yeah, shoot your shot anytime. Now, let's see here. Why are you laughing? Stop it.
Full disclosure, This is what I was dying to ask you. I'm a straight shooter.
I can't even get my question in.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, we only have her for so long, so
we'll move on to. We'll keep her on morning dump.
So there are times where I'll say something to Andrew. We'll be going back and forth, and I'll say, "Hey, relax. Don't worry. I'm the black guy. I can get away with it." Right? I can ask. I can broach race topics, and I know this that some other people can or would be uncomfortable by. I'm dying to know how you balance the feminism and being attractive, and people aren't going to turn down your DMs, Anna. They're not. I'm 100% honest.
Yeah.
But that's not who you are. But you have to know how to walk the line between sexism and being really good at what you do, because you have to play to your strengths.
Totally.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's a real question, and I think
You didn't have the stones, did you?
pretty much.
Well, I didn't have as good of a question. That's how I'm thinking. I'm like, dang.
Pretty much every woman in sports, if you ask, will have stories upon stories of athletes, maybe even coaches or other media members, of course, sending those DMs that might not be wanted at the moment. And everyone, again, will shoot their shot. I mean,
that was the segue.
I knew that was, and I knew that was DB because I saw your face right after that. I think I want to be respected more than anything in this business, and I think I very much so come off that way. So I think you just set up boundaries with people, and I think that's just the biggest thing to do is just to, I'm here for my job. I'm not here to hang out. I'm not here to make friends, right? But it's different making friends for me than for you guys. Erin Andrews said this on one of her podcasts, and she said, guys can always say, I was texting with Aaron Rodgers last night. But if Erin Andrews said that, I was texting with Aaron Rodgers late last night, it would be a whole thing.
Gotcha.
And it would be blown out of proportion. But DB, you could say that, or you were texting with a recruit or something like that. But if I said that, totally inappropriate and taken the wrong way. So I think women have to be, unfortunately, a little bit more careful than men do.
Very cautious.
But it's also for our own safety too. We've heard the horror stories.
Yeah.
Example, Erin Andrews.
Yeah.
We don't want to be in that position ever. It's so uncomfortable to be hit on by someone that you're trying to interview, and it's happened to me before. And I could name names, but I won't. And
name names.
No,
I'm teasing.
But it's
Andrew Rogers.
It's no, Andrew's the
It's
best.
a good friend.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't know, DB. I don't know.
It caught me off guard when she said you don't want to be friends. I was like, I didn't want to be your friend either, and all of a sudden we are.
No, it's different with
you know what I
peers you
mean, just
work
from
with.
spending time with each other. It's not like I set out and I was like, hey, you know what, AR, I really want to be your friend.
But
we talk about everything,
right?
Right?
Yeah.
Like we have these crazy, deep philosophical conversations. I'm like, I've known you for 8 months.
Yeah,
or
That is
whatever.
true. Off-air conversation.
No, yeah, you definitely have to. There's definitely a line, and there's boundaries, and you have to be more aware of that as a woman. But that's also the narrative that we're trying to change. And women weren't allowed in men's locker rooms 20 years ago, 15 years ago. That's crazy. And usually I'm one of the only females in the locker room too. And it's just something that you have to get used to. And you talk about the fearless thing. It's just something that you have to, just be comfortable with and be okay with being the only woman in the room. Because it also means all the eyes are on you and you have the attention and you're grabbing people's attention, because there's a lot of men in this business, but there's not as many women, and especially women that do it at the highest level. So here to do that, here to break through.
Anna, stick around. We're going to move this conversation over to Morning Dump. If you want to hear more from Ana Bellinghausen, you can find that there. Thanks for joining us on the show. We will see you tomorrow.